So here we are again. Round 2 of this voiceover stuff. I hope all 18 subscribers brought their sack lunch, because this is a long one. 43 minutes. Good stuff. This is a load that everybody swears to God is the best load there is. I'm running a ladder test on it. Let's see what I've loaded here. 4350 in the 6.5 Creedmoor is supposed to be the best of the best. So I've loaded 41.6, 41.8, 42.0, 42.2, 42.4, all with Burger Target Hybrid 140 grains with CCI BR2 primers, loaded at 2.810 overall length. I've also got a load here at 42 grains of 4350, same 2.810 overall length with Winchester primers, and the load that I've always come back to, which is 43.5 grains of H4031. 140 grain hybrids loaded to 2.855 overall length Winchester primer. This is not a normal 6.5 Creedmoor powder. This is more like a 7 mag, 300 Win Mag powder. Nobody really loads 6.5 Creedmoor for this. I have to admit that it is a little slow with these Winchester primers, recent loadings. I've loaded this pretty hot. I think my barrel's slowing down, it's getting broken in, whatever. I think I'm at 1350 round count out of this barrel. This is my gallon 26-inch barrel. Anyways, that's another discussion for another time. Maybe we'll get into it today, because there's 43 minutes of video here. So first round out is the 43.5 grains of 4031, the powder that's not supposed to shoot through this rifle. Now I only had 5 rounds of this stuff left from last week, and again, shoots lights out through this rifle. As you'll see, this is going to be the best group of the day. This is 100 yards. Cold bore shot probably screwed that group. Probably would have been around a 0.2 or so. I think this was a 0.3 something or other. 0.36, I think. Yeah. But that group had me thinking, hey, this is going to be a good day today. And then the wind picked up, Mirage came out, H4350 came out, totally screwed the pooch. But I'm happy at this point. The first 5 rounds to that barrel today, I'm happy. Chrono data, that load chronoed at 2647 average. Just slow for a Creed. Should be around 28. This next load is, let's see, 42 grains, 4350 hybrids, loaded at 2.810 overall length using Winchester primer. These are the loads that I had loaded from last week, left over. I think I had 34 or so of them. They didn't shoot good last week, and they don't shoot good this week, and they probably never will shoot good. But this is one of the loads that everybody says shoots wonderful through their rifle. First shot looks great when you see it. You're like, man, this is going to be a good group. And then it's not. Look at that. Wonderful. Sorry I lost faith in this group here. I probably rushed it because of that second shot. I don't really think it matters. That's my cup. Drinking rum and coke out of a Yeti. Nice and loud. I think that ended up being like a 1.3. Yeah, 1.3 MOA group. This is exactly 100 yards where I'm at now. And now we go to the new loads that I loaded the previous night. 41.6 grains, 4350 burger target hybrid, 140 grain, loaded 2.810 BR2 primer. These averaged 27-24 feet per second. This is still on the low side for I want to be. I'm right now. I'm feeling for the temperature of the barrel, thinking, hey, maybe the barrel's hot. While these groups suck, but nah, the groups just suck, or I suck. I don't know. Combination of the both. Resetting the magneto speed. And again, starts out great. But just goes to shit after this. Last one to finish it off. I think this ended up being a 1 MOA group. Not anything to be proud of. But again, 27-24 feet per second average on this one. The next group here is an oddity because it's actually 2.2 grains up. But the average velocity is actually lower than the previous load of 41.6. It's 27.19. SD and ES look good too. I mean, they're still, I think 10 SD, maybe 21 ES on this load. Same BR2 primer, same 2.810 overall length, same burger target hybrid 140 grainer. But also still the same amount of suck involved. Oh yeah, this is the one where I don't know what happened. I think I mixed up some rounds. I don't know. I mean, this is a 4-shot group. It was a terrible group, but it was a 4-shot group. This was the 41.8 grain group here, and I didn't realize this is a 4-shot group till after I came back and started editing these videos. I was like, damn, that was only 4 shots. But I mean, 4 or 5 or 6 or 3, the whole group sucked anyway. So there it is. Well, hell, now that I look at it, it was a 5-shot group. I think one went through the same hole. I don't know. It sucks. Doesn't matter if it went with the same hole or not. It sucks. That was like a, I don't know, take a guess, a 1.3, 1.2 MOA group. It's all shit. This next batch of targets is when things start to somewhat come together. Not how I really would want it to, but I mean, it's not as bad as the first set. This is when we start out with the primo load for the PRS guys, the 42 grains of 4350 with a, you know, burger hybrid, the BR2 primer. This is what everybody says to load. And it shoots okay for me through my rifle, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I've got that shoots way better. This is shooting 2740 average velocity, but it's a decent group. I think this is a 0.6 or so when it's all said and done. It'd been cool if we could like negate those other 2 rounds outside that group, because that 3-round group right there is easily in the ones, but those other 2 just threw the whole thing out to, I think, a 0.5 or so. Nothing to brag about. This load is 42, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 42.2 grains, 4350. Burger hybrid, 2810. Overall length, BR2 primer. This averages 2756 feet per second. All these loads pretty much shoot the same. They're all around a half or a 6.6 MOA through this rifle. Pretty boring. This whole video is going to be boring. like I said, I hope you brought your lunch and a drink and a smoke. Or multiples thereof. Yeah, my Bolt has a weak ejector, and I'm okay with that because I don't like brass ejecting out 3 feet from the rifle. I'm cool with just pulling it right out the chamber. You can hear the wind pick up. You can see the grass flying everywhere. Wind gets crazy today. It was just nuts out there. I don't think wind is any excuse at 100 yards, so I'm not going to throw that out there. I will throw that out there later on in the video at 500 because just wind gets stupid, and you know, it does play a factor at longer range, but at 100 I don't think it does anything significant. Okay, what do we have next? This is the last of the loads that I loaded last night. This is 42.4 grains, 4350. Burger hybrid target 2810. Overall length BR2 primer. Average velocity on this one is 2766. I'm still about 40 feet per second slower than I want to be. I really want to be at 2800, 2820, somewhere around there. The barrel slowed down a little bit. I don't know why. This just 3-4 months ago, this gun shot 41.5 grains of 4350, around 2800 feet per second with the same load. So I've slowed down quite a bit, 150 feet per second or so. But I've only got about 1,300 rounds to it. And when I fired this round on this target here, I was like, you know what, I blew it. That's what I thought in my mind. I was like, yeah, I blew this whole group. I'm done. Sucks. I'm pissed off. I think it comes together somewhere around 0.9 or so. Maybe it's a 1.0. I don't know. Yeah, that was like a 1 point something or other. But it sucked. So this whole time I'm thinking, hey, this is going to come together. One of these loads is going to come together like my first load, which I only had 5 rounds of. It never does come together again. But in my mind at the time, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go shoot those old loads that I shot. This is what I'm thinking right now. The old loads that I shot last week, see if they do anything for me. And this is the Winchester primers. They tend to shoot a little hotter. I think these average, 2650 at 42 grains, so they're just about 30 feet per second hotter than the BR2 primer loads. But wishful thinking, doesn't come together. Yeah, not happy with that one, as you can tell by the video. First 4 would have been good, but 5th killed it. Yeah, I think now we're going to 500. Yeah, move the camera. Barrels had time to cool off. And again, like in the first part, the first group was great. Had me excited. This is an unknown load to me. Basically, I plugged this into my shooter app on my phone to get the mill data on it. Told me 3.2 MOA. I'm not MOA, mils. 3.2 mil elevation. So I just dial 3.2 on this thing and cross my fingers and have faith, and you'll see what happens. And of course, wind picks up a lot. There's my 3.2. This is also when being that the target cam is so far out, you know, a little past a quarter mile, there's a little delay now. So you'll see that on the video, but there is a delay getting back. But look at that first shot. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more than that. I looked at that and I was like, you got to be kidding me. That was great. This whole group was great. I was happy with it. And this load in this group here is the 41.6 grains of 4350, running 27-24 feet per second average. But I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more than this. This was I think it ended up being a .46 or yeah, right around a half MOA. And high winds, you know, this is pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. So the group looks a little high to me if you average it out. So I back down 0.1 mil, and then I eventually go to the right 0.1 mil to try to square it off. And you'll see it doesn't really work out for me like I thought it would. This load here runs a little hotter. This is the 41.8 grains of 4350. According to the chrono, it doesn't run hotter. It runs at 2719, which is, you know, 5 feet per second slower than the 41.6. It still boggles my mind why higher grain charge is a lower velocity, but yeah, whatever. Go with it. Again, there's me some delay. too happy with that one. I pulled that last round out. That would have been probably around I don't know, a 0.7 or so. It ended up being I think a 0.9. Said and done. The wind is picking up really bad. It's a weird range. It's like, where I'm shooting at is really windy, and then downrange there's no wind, and then it reverses and there's a lot of wind downrange. There's no wind where I'm shooting from. It's in a valley. It's all screwed up. It's hard to judge the wind. There's no wind flags. I mean, I didn't put any out, so I'm kind of just going off of a wet finger. Digging in my bipod here. I have a level on the left side of my scope, and the recoil was digging into the dirt, so I'm trying to re-level my rifle. These bottom targets at 5, let me explain to you. At 500 yards, there was so much mirage it looked like you were looking through the bottom of a Coke bottle. I mean, you really couldn't see anything. The top targets, I could barely make out something red, and that's what I was aiming at. The bottom targets, I can kind of see a black square, like a 4-inch black square, and that's all I can see. I can't see the yellow, I can't see the red. And this is the 24 power, but there's just so much mirage, it's really hard to see. So I had to bracket my crosshairs in this black square, and I abandoned these targets after I think the third try, because I just couldn't really see these bottom targets. Wish I would have had some of those orange pasties or something, because this is just not working. Again, there's a delay because of the range. The wind blew over my repeater. I have a Wi-Fi repeater on the top of my truck. The wind blew it over. I didn't know this till after the fact, but it blew it over, so there's even more delay because it did blow it over. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. This group sucks. All these groups suck pretty much. The first group was the best group, but there's not a lot of people out there on YouTube that actually put out their crap stuff too. I mean, this is not the best situation to be shooting in. I mean, there's crap blowing in my eyes. There's bugs biting me. You'll see that later. Wind all over the place. It's just crazy. That group I didn't even run through quick target because it looked like shit, so I said forget it. So I don't know, that's probably like a 2 MOE group. Long delay here. You'll see it show up. There it is. I mean, it's just the wind is just killer. Yeah, I wasn't happy with that. Just bumped it up a 0.1 mil because I am shooting low. But again, I think that target's what screwed me up. I mean, it's really hard to see that target at 500 yards. But that looked good. You know, you're in the middle there, so I went with it. It didn't help the group out any though. Yeah. At this point, I'm like, you know, my barrel's got to be getting hot. There's got to be some other excuse here. So I stopped. I paused for about 5 minutes or so, killed the cam, and I let this on so you can see the last round on the right-hand target. The whole group was blown. Another 2-3 MOA. I don't know. The barrel was hot, so I've never really shot that many rounds that fast. Normally I shoot with somebody else, and so it's like, you know, 5 rounds, 10 rounds, and you stop and let somebody else shoot, and then you go back. But I did notice the barrel was really, really hot, so I said, you know, there's got to be another reason. It can't be wind. So here I am after a 5 or 10 minute break. And the wind's getting worse here. It's the weather. I didn't have the Kestrel. A friend of mine has a Kestrel, and he brings it, and he could give you good data on that. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say it's probably gusting at 12, constant, maybe 5. But it just changes because there's that valley. If it's windy here, it's not windy down there, you know, all that. It just sucks. It's a tough range. Go back to the top targets this time, thinking that was a problem. Look at that, almost dead center. I was like, okay, well, we're getting somewhere now. I can actually kind of see something. Yeah, there we go. Shit in the eye. Yeah, blew that group already. Just waiting for the wind to stop. It's just pretty severe at the firing line right now, and I'm getting aggravated as hell. There's this beetle crawling on me, then all of a sudden I get fire ants on my ankle. You see the beetle crawling off right there underneath my gun. Beetles and ants and grass in your eye and dirt and yellow jackets running around behind you. Makes it for a fun day shooting. I think at this point I'm just ready to get this day over with, burn this brass so I can go back and load something else because this is BS. Yeah, I didn't see the last shot, but it actually went through the second hole that I fired. That ended up being like a what was that? Just at MOA or just below MOA group. These last few groups are not great. I mean, I think they're around MOA. There's a big delay here, but I mean, there's grass flying everywhere. There's dirt. Got shit in my eye. I'm pissed off. You know, I mean, you can't shoot good when you're in that state of mind. You can't see the target. Mirage. But you know what they say, you know, a bad day shooting's better than a good day at work, right? Getting chiggers and bit by bugs and all that stuff. I bump up a .1 mil. And it's futile at this point, but I go back to my old load, the one I loaded last week with the Winchester primers here, thinking maybe they'll save me, but they don't save me. Nothing saves me. Just pure suckage at this point. Hand loading for precision rifle stuff is like playing the lotto, except it's more expensive and, you know, more time consuming. But that's what keeps you hooked, because you never know you'll find that load that just shoots lights out. I guess that's what drug addicts call the first high. You know, you're always searching for that first high. But I guess that's what it is. There, I'm waiting for the delay. There's a big camera delay there because the router or whatever fell off my truck. So I'm getting a really weak Wi-Fi signal. You can see the target there. That's another terrible group. But you can't win them all. Especially with grass in the eye. done. Ready for next weekend. There's the range. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Awesome camera, right? getting chiggers and bit by bugs and all that stuff. A bump up a 0.1 mil. Yeah, it's futile at this point, but I go back to my old load, the one I loaded last week with the Winchester primers here, thinking maybe they'll save me, but they don't save me. Nothing saves me. Just pure suckage at this point. Hand loading for precision rifle stuff is like playing the lotto, except it's more expensive and, you know, more time consuming. But that's what keeps you hooked, because you never know you'll find that load that just shoots lights out. I guess that's what drug addicts call the first high. You know, you're always searching for that first high. But I guess that's what it is. There, I'm waiting for the delay. There's a big camera delay there because the router or whatever fell off my truck. So I'm getting a really weak Wi-Fi signal. You can see the target there. That's another terrible group. But you can't win them all. Especially the grass in the eye. Done. Ready for next weekend. There's the range. 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Awesome camera, right?